Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. It's April 9th, 2022, Saturday. And what does that mean? That's right. You are going to be provided the top stories that we brought to you throughout the week, all in one convenient location right here. Gonna start in a second. Watch it. It's great. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. First, Marcus Spanavello, the ex-boyfriend of missing Florida mother Cassie Carly, whose body was found buried in a shallow grave in Alabama over the weekend, has been arrested. Now, Spanavello allegedly sent text messages to the woman's family members after her disappearance roughly a week ago, claiming that she had asked him to drop her off in the middle of nowhere. Well, this is where the story fell apart. Spanavello allegedly told Andrew Carly, the father of Cassie, that Cassie had asked him to drop her off in the middle of nowhere in Destin so that she could stay with a friend formerly known as Stacy. Well, Andrew replied that the woman that he was referring to now goes by the name of Sam and moved to Alabama a while ago, and basically also said Cassie would never have you just drop her off anywhere. Well, unfortunately, the officers located and recovered the remains of the 37-year-old Cassie Saturday night in a barn in Spring Hill, Alabama, located some 300 miles away from Navarre Beach in Florida, where she was last seen alive. Now, Marcus Spanavello is the father of the couple's 4-year-old daughter, Sailor. Now, Spanavello was arrested in Tennessee on Sunday on charges of evidence tampering and providing false information. The sheriff refused to say how they learned that Carly had been buried at that particular barn, but added that the barn had a peripheral connection to Spanavello. Now, Spanavello is currently pending extradition. Carly had been identified thanks to a tattoo that they were able to take a look at and identify her remains. Now, apparently the two allegedly had a somewhat turbulent relationship after their split. Carly had obtained a court order compelling her ex-boyfriend to pay some $6,000 in rear child support. Now, the day Carly went missing, she had arranged to meet up with Spanavello to exchange custody of their daughter around 7 p.m. in the parking lot of Juanita's Grill at Navarre Beach. Carly's car was located days later in Navarre with her purse inside, raising concerns obviously for her well-being. Police also noted that there had been no activity whatsoever on her phone or any credit cards since the time that she had met with Mr. Spanavello. And according to Carly's father, Carly's last words to him were, "I'll be right back." Sad, sad story, ladies and gentlemen. You just, how do you predict? You just don't know. Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. The big news of the day is, well, that's right, another one of those reports. A report from the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare has arrived at the court. The Idaho Department of Health and Welfare, through their attorneys, through the Attorney General's office there in Idaho, has filed a motion that the report and the filings be sealed, and Judge Boyce has granted the same, just like he has on the previous reports. As you may recall, when somebody goes off to the mental health hospital, the state hospital as it's referred in some jurisdictions, the hospital has to provide periodic reports as to the status of the person that is being restored to competency and whether they think that they are going to be restored to competency. Since we do not know the contents of the status report because of privacy issues, so the only way that we'll know whether Lori Vallow will be joining us again is if she is transported back to Fremont County and held at the local facility. That will mean that she has been restored. It'll be a restoration miracle. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see. Now, there's also a hearing set for April 19th of 2022, and that hearing is going to be live streamed. We will bring it to you live. Now, what else is taking place? You know, how many times have I said, oh, it's always about the money? And people scoff. Scott, you're too cynical. Scott, you're too jaded. How could you possibly mean that? Do you remember back in February of 2022, the prosecution filed a supplement and disclosure of the state's motion for the court to allow additional evidence and follow Idaho Code 19-1816 by transporting a jury. And the real basis for the motion to select a jury up in Ada County, transporting the jury down to Fremont County for a trial, was that, well, it was going to be really expensive. And I said at that time, it's always about the money. Now, Judge Boyce had previously ruled that neither Chad nor Lori could get a fair trial there in Fremont County, and therefore they moved the matter to Ada County. And since then, the district attorney has been trying to say, Judge, there's nothing that prevents us from selecting a jury in Ada County, select those jurors, sequester them, bring them down here to Fremont County, hear the trial that's scheduled to go some 8 to 10 weeks, and then we'll ship them back and all is good in the world. Well, on April 1st, and this is not an April Fool's joke because I know some people take things very seriously around here, the prosecution has filed their supplement. And it is basically saying, hey, Judge, if we move the whole trial up to Ada County, it is going to be some $379,000, which is more than what we originally anticipated, basically another $100,000 more. And if they were to use the court clerks in Ada County, that would save roughly $20,000. If we were to bring the jury from Ada County, sequester them, and hold the trial in Fremont County, it would only cost $187,840. Big savings. So that's what the prosecution has filed, and they put it together in nice little PowerPoints for everybody. I mean, look how nice that is. Isn't that neat? Look at that. Now, I understand the judge set a hearing to present testimony regarding this. Now, under the provisions of moving a trial, I don't see anything in there about cost being the issue, that's something that the court should consider. Now, judicial economy, yes, that makes sense. So you want to send it to where there's resources available, there's building, there's plenty of jurors, things of that nature. But just because of the fact that it's going to be expensive shouldn't really play in there. Now, Judge Boyce has previously ruled, hey, we're going to move this case to Ada, that's it. But then he does like lots of judges do, and he seems to be very accommodating to the prosecution. I would think the judge would say, I've ruled. And guess what? I would tell the prosecutors, start focusing on getting your case ready because guess what? January of 2023, when this thing is supposed to start, is going to be here before you know it. So why don't you focus on that? Then you have the elected DA go to their county commissioners and say, guess what? We've got the biggest case going on here in the country. Justice is expensive. We as a community need to pay for this. But sorry, you have to find us some money to pay for these additional costs. Most jurisdictions have contingency funds so that these matters, when they arise like this, they can be taken care of. If there was some sort of emergency, they needed extra snow plows because of a snow, I'm sure they could find the money. Could they not? Of course they do. They always do. So cost shouldn't be a factor. My humble opinion is the judge has ruled. Why are we even having this hearing? And additionally, this is a death penalty case. So why would you do anything that is going to create an appellate issue in any way possible? Just don't do it. Find the money, move the case to Ida, give everybody a fair trial, and then we'll move on. Now, one thing we have to remember is the judge said the trial will go, whether Lori Vallow is there or not. I'm somehow betting she's not. And if you may remember, she's never made it even to initial advisement as it relates to the indictment in this particular case. The proceedings have all been stayed to her. You just can't one day say, here you go to trial. If she is found competent, let's say 3 months before the trial date, not going to happen. She has a right to look at all the discovery, to review it, to assist in her defense. There's no way this case is going to go in that particular situation if she's restored to competency. Once again, I haven't seen it. I'm just going based upon my experience. I don't think she's going to be restored to competency anytime soon to make it to trial. We'll all wait and see if my prediction is incorrect or whether I got it right. We'll wait and see. I know there's some people out there saying, oh, we're hoping you get it wrong, Scott. And I get it, but call it the way we see it. Like many Americans, we got a dog during the pandemic. My quarantine dog, Miss Winnie the Bulldog. Now, Miss Winnie has grown accustomed to being around us all the time. When we were leaving the house, Winnie would have extreme anxiety, so we decided to look for natural products to help with her anxiety. We looked for the highest quality CBD treats, and we were not satisfied, and neither was Winnie. So we created a high-quality CBD product that absorbs faster and provides the required results faster. Baked in Colorado, CBD treats and beverage enhancers are made with nanotechnology. The nanotechnology makes the CBD extraction more pure, also allows for Baked in Colorado products to work faster. Baked in Colorado products can help reduce your pet's anxiety, ease joint pain, and help with your dog's skin problems. Go to our online store and see what Baked in Colorado product is best for your dog. When you order at bakedincolorado.com, enter code WINNIE and receive 15% off your first order. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee. If your dog does not experience the desired results in 30 days, return the product and we will refund your money. No questions asked. Things went from bad to worse for this guy, Troy Driver. The suspect has now been accused of shooting 18-year-old Naomi Irion in the head and chest in a remote part of Nevada. He's now accused of first-degree murder with the use of a deadly weapon, first-degree kidnapping, robbery, burglary of a motor vehicle, and destroying evidence, according to his new criminal complaint. It is alleged that Mr. Driver kidnapped Miss Irion for the purpose of committing sexual assault and or the purpose of killing her. Now, the Lyon County District Attorney filed an amended complaint yesterday, adding the first-degree murder charge as well as the kidnapping charge that Mr. Driver was already facing. Now, Mr. Driver is accused of kidnapping Miss Irion from a Walmart parking lot in rural Fenley on March 12th and killing her on or before March 25th. That's the day Driver was arrested for kidnapping. Now, 4 days later, investigators acting upon a tip were able to find her body in a shallow grave located in the desert. Now, in addition to burying Miss Irion's body, the new complaint alleges Mr. Driver disposed of tires from his truck and destroyed or hid her cell phone in an effort to eliminate evidence that might help lead to his arrest. Well, apparently that didn't work out so well for Mr. Driver because obviously he's in custody. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the case, surveillance footage from the morning of Miss Irion's disappearance showed Irion sitting in the driver's seat while she was waiting for a company shuttle to take her to her job at Panasonic. A man wearing a hoodie, believed to be Mr. Driver, was filmed approaching her vehicle after circling the area. Now, it's unclear if she was in the store at the time he broke into the vehicle or if she was in the car, but footage shows the pair driving off with the suspect in the driver's seat. The pair then drove out of the parking lot with the man behind the wheel. Her abandoned car was found on March 15th near a paint manufacturing facility in an industrial park along Interstate 80, less than a mile away from the Walmart store. Now, Mr. Driver is a convicted felon and has previously served 12 years in California State Prison for his role in the death of a methamphetamine drug dealer. Criminal records show he was convicted in 1997 of accessory to murder after the fact in relation to the killing of 19-year-old Paul Steven Rodriguez. Mr. Driver, who was 17 at the time, and the 19-year-old Carl Herbert Dolinsky helped Mr. Moore dispose of Rodriguez's body and hide and torched his car in a nearby forest. The trio of suspects were arrested after the victim's remains were discovered 2 weeks after the killing. Sounds a little familiar, doesn't it? Now, Driver's sister in that case in California, Charlotte Driver Cassidy, was also implicated in his crimes after she admitted to driving the car used to lure Rodriguez to his death. She also acted as a getaway driver in her brother's robbery, which he claimed to have committed to help his sister buy plane tickets so she could go to Italy. 4 months later, Mr. Driver pled guilty to the accessory charge related to the murder. He also admitted to robbing a convenience store and a service station and to breaking into a hardware store. He was sentenced to 15 years in state prison, but was released after 12 years. Since remaining free more than a decade, Mr. Driver settled in Nevada, living in Elko County and more recently in Lyon County, where he was working construction. We'll continue to follow that case, but it appears to be pretty straightforward. Obviously, we'll give Mr. Driver the presumption of innocence, but not looking good. You know what you really got to love? A criminal who knows their rights, okay? And we're not talking about their constitutional rights, but they know what they can steal and what they can't steal and what the other person can't do. So please meet this shoplifter who we are going to identify as Jackie. And Jackie claimed that a Dwayne Reed security guard tried to assault her when she attempted to walk out of the store with stolen fabric softener because she needed to do her laundry, for goodness sakes. Jackie said that she returned the item when she was caught at the door and walked out when the guard allegedly grabbed her back into the store. She claimed she was dragged in and that her purse was cut open as the guard gave her a notice that she was banned from all Duane Reade stores in New York City. Well, the proud shoplifter she is, well, what did she do? That's right. She blamed the stores for the series of shoplifting incidents plaguing the city and said shoplifters were the victims. The incident comes as Duane Reade suffered a series of robberies throughout New York City by teenage gangs stealing prescription drugs. Who is the bigger idiot here? Is it Jackie or the legislature in the state of New York, as well as the city that passes city ordinances that basically makes taking other people's things not a crime? Listen to her interview. You let me know if she's an idiot.
Before I left the store, before I left their premises, I bumped into the security guard and he said that I had something in my bag. I gave it back. I wasn't even out of the store yet. And he put his hands on me and pulled me back into the store, told me that I had to come back into the back office, that he was gonna write me a summons. And I said, no, you can't do that. I gave you back your property. I did not leave the store. I was in the store still when I gave you back your stuff, and you're not letting me leave the store. This paper is saying that I am not allowed into any Duane Reade in the state of New York. I guess ever. I took one thing of fabric softener, and it was to do laundry.
Next, quick update on Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. Now, as you may recall, the defense for Chad Daybell had filed a motion to dismiss the indictment in this case. And the argument was pretty simple, basically that there were irregularities that were taking place in the grand jury proceedings, and therefore the whole process was tainted and that the indictment should be dismissed. Pretty straightforward. And as you may recall, there was a hearing. We televised it, and I thought the DA's argument was basically, it sounded very law schoolish, and I got a little bit of flack for it, but I stand by my statement because it looked like she was literally reading from it, something. So she's made her argument. She told everybody what her argument is. But then she filed a motion saying that she doesn't want the world to know what her argument was. Now, originally her argument was everything was conducted properly, but if there were things that were done improperly, maybe things we shouldn't have done, Judge, it didn't result in so much prejudice to either of the defendants that the case should not be thrown out. So, like I said, they made that argument several weeks ago. Now they put it in writing, but now all of a sudden they want it sealed. Why? Like I said, she sounded like she was reading her brief when she made her argument. Judge Boyce, don't seal the pleadings. The public has a right to know their justice system is working, and if it's not working, they need to be aware as to why it's not working so that we can fix the problem or replace the person causing the problem. Now, still no news regarding whether Lori Vallow will be joining anyone in the proceedings anytime soon. Once again, my prediction is that she will not be joining us anytime soon.